Stephen Milne, arguably one of, if not the best small forwards of the 21st century, known for his magical ability to create a goal from seemingly anywhere and at any time. Known affectionately throughout the AFL world as the Tip Rat, let's take a look at his career. Stephen Milne was born on the 8th of March 1980 and played his junior football for the Hampton Park Football Netball Club. He eventually made his way into the Dandenong Stingrays, a under-18 team, where he had played before being overlooked in the 1998 draft, his first one eligible. He then went on to play for Essendon Reserves in a practice match after Essendon were a player short. He'd kicked 3 goals that day at Whitten Oval, and this would lead to Essendon signing him for their reserves list for 1999. He would star in their 1999 Reserves Premiership win, kicking 4 goals to lead them to a 57-point win over St Kilda's reserves. Essendon was still undecided on Milne come the rookie draft, using their first pick on Corey McGrath. However, before Essendon had their second pick, St Kilda picked him up with the 23rd pick of the draft. He would play in the VFL reserve for the entirety of the 2000 season, culminating in playing in St Kilda's loss in the semi-final versus Geelong. 2001 would see an elevation to the senior list, and Milne took every chance he got, debuting against Port Adelaide and kicking 2 goals. He would end up playing 17 senior games in 2001, kicking 27 goals. Certainly a standout in a young rebuilding side, even getting 2 Goal of the Year nominations, a testament to his knack for kicking insane goals, and one that would foreshadow events to come. 2002 was certainly a breakout year for Milne, a shining light in the Saints team that came second last with just 5 wins. He kicked 50 goals to claim the club's leading goalscorer award ahead of teammate Aaron Hamill, who came second with just 22 goals to his name. 2003 would see Milne play just 14 games, but would, however, manage to kick 26 goals. And 2004 would be a big year for Milne and the Saints, for good and bad reasons. St Kilda would start the campaign by winning their 2004 Wizard Homelands Cup final over Geelong. However, the events that would occur just one day after the win would threaten to derail the careers of 2 emerging stars of the club. On the night of March 14, 2004, St Kilda teammates Lee, Joey Montagna and Stephen Milne were accused of the rape of a 19-year-old woman at Montagna's home in Hyatt. However, charges were dropped in May of that year after a Victoria Police investigation found insufficient evidence to launch a prosecution against the pair. Back on the field, St Kilda were enjoying their best season in many years, winning the first 10 games of the season, including a 1-point win over eventual grand finalists Brisbane thanks to a last-minute Troy Schwarzer goal from outside 50. Milne would go on to kick 46 goals for the season, coming third for most goals kicked by a St Kilda player, behind Coleman medalist Fraser Garrick and Nick Rewell. 05 saw a career-best season for Milne, kicking 61 goals, including an 11-goal haul against Brisbane, to come runner-up in the leading goal kicker tally at St Kilda, behind Coleman medalist Fraser Garrick. Milne would have a slightly worse season in 2006, kicking 29 goals in 22 games, but still contributed to the team's success, as they finished 6th in the season before losing to Melbourne in that year's elimination final. This, however, would be the final season of then St Kilda coach Grant Thomas, who would be replaced by a relatively young Ross Lyon. Milne remained the 3rd biggest goal scorer throughout 2007, kicking 32 goals. However, it was 2008 when Ross Lyon's St Kilda would make their presence known in the league, winning the NAB Cup and finishing 4th in the regular season, losing out in a preliminary final. 2008 would be Fraser Garrick's final season, and he would only play 5 games. Milne took the opportunity and ran with it, kicking 60 goals over 24 games to be St Kilda's 2nd highest goal scorer. 2009 would be St Kilda's best year in decades, finishing 1st on the ladder, and after going unbeaten through the majority of the season, Milne kicked 46 goals and came 3rd in the Saints goal kickers. Unfortunately though, for the whole team, they came within 2 goals of a premiership. But would this be the closest Milne would ever get to a premiership? Well, I think you know exactly what's about to happen. But first, let's have a look at 2010. In round 3 of the season, a heated war of words between Collingwood coach Mick Malthouse and Stephen Milne reached tipping point when Malthouse allegedly called Milne a rapist, despite being cleared of any charges by the police. Malthouse would be given a fine and forced to apologise to Milne. In round 5 against Port Adelaide, he'd kick what was dubbed on commentary as the goal of the century, which didn't even win goal of the year, somehow losing to Lance Franklin's running goal in the 50. But I'll let you compare the pair. St Kilda would finish 3rd on the ladder following a win over the Dogs in the prelim final, and for the 2nd year running, were into a grand final. And down by 1 point, with 1 minute 40 left on the clock, Milne was to be the recipient of a long ball from Lenny Hayes. The rest, they say, is history.
The ball forward, Johnson quickly off the mark, Milne with a best, ball bouncing, scores a level! No!
So, when I said that 2009 was the closest Milne would come to a premiership, I didn't really mean it. In fact, along of you probably already had heard of or seen this clip. But Milne was within centimetres of a premiership, if only the ball had bounced this way or that way. But when all was said and done, you know the story. St Kilda draw of Collingwood come back the next week and have a day out, beating the Saints by 56 points. Despite this, Milne had a good season, leading the goal-scoring charts at St Kilda by kicking 57 goals. And for the next season, I think it's safe to say that Milne had a point to prove. 2011 would be Milne's best season yet, not in terms of goals kicked, but he still kicked 56 goals, leading the Saints goal scorers by a 20-goal margin over Rewalt. He was, however, selected as All-Australian for the first time, a feat he would replicate in 2012, again kicking 56 goals and being selected in the All-Australian team. It seemed Milne was peaking at a late age, and his career was at its best. He was just 32, so he surely had plenty of football left in him, right? Well, he started that way, kicking 18 goals in the first 11 games of the season before a bombshell dropped.
Good evening, everyone. The career of Stephen Milne hangs in the balance, with the veteran goal sneak given indefinite leave from the club. Milne was yesterday charged with 4 counts of rape dating back to 2004. This morning he trained with teammates before being told he wouldn't play against Melbourne on Saturday. Nick Butler explains.
Remember the allegations of rape from 2004? Well, after a further police investigation brought on due to the allegations that a senior officer was pressured to drop the case, this ultimately led to an integrity review which recommended reopening the case. And as such, the case was reviewed and police found sufficient evidence to charge Milne with 4 counts of rape. Milne was cleared to come back after 5 weeks of leave from football and played 7 of the 8 final games of the season before announcing his retirement, presumably due to complications of the legal case. Later in November of 2014, Milne avoided conviction on the counts of rape. In 2014, Milne returned to football, playing for Strathfield Say in Bendigo Football League, where he kicked 101 goals and winning the league's leading goal-kicking medal. He also won the club's Best and Fairest award, and there was a silver lining for Milne, who finally got to win a senior premiership as he was part of back-to-back flags in 2014 and 15. 2016 would see him head to the VAFA, joining Bo Morris as they won their 2016 B-grade flag before retiring from football completely following the 2018 season, aged 38. So Stephen Milne is arguably one of the great small forwards of our generation. In my opinion, behind only Eddie Betts. It is also my opinion that Ginnivan and Watson from the Hawks share the same flair, but they would need to step up a bit to match Milne over the course of their careers. So who knows, maybe in 20 years' time we'll be comparing the Wizard to Tip Rat. But anyways, that does mark the end of the video for today. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you did enjoy the video, please do consider leaving a like and or subscribing, as it would really help the channel. Anyways, have a good day and see you in the next video.